What if the doorway to your deepest sleep has been hiding inside the particles of your own awareness? What if your exhaustion isn't caused by life, but by forgotten frequencies your body still tries to broadcast? Imagine discovering that every restless night is actually a coded conversation between your spirit and the quantum field. Picture closing your eyes and stepping into a dimension where healing is not earned, it's inevitable. Tonight could be the first night you stop chasing sleep, and let sleep finally come looking for you. And everything begins with a strange, overlooked hypothesis that rewires how the universe restores you. So many people lie in the dark, staring at their ceiling, hoping that fatigue will eventually drag them under. Yet the mind keeps replaying unfinished loops, conversations you wish you handled differently, mistakes you can't undo, fears that wash ashore the moment everything gets quiet. The room feels too warm or too cold, the blankets never sit right, the silence becomes an amplifier for every unearthed thought. It's the quietest battlefield, and you're fighting yourself with no armor. In the United States especially, where speed is a cultural expectation, rest becomes an inconvenience. People push through the day on caffeine and half-formed focus, convincing themselves that exhaustion is normal. But the truth is deeper, exhaustion becomes an identity. You start thinking you're just a bad sleeper, as though your body was designed to betray you. You blame stress, screens, timing, diet, or genetics. But none of those explanations ever satisfy that feeling of something else is happening. And inside that something else, you sense a quiet conflict. It's the conflict between the world you navigate by day and the world your spirit tries to reach at night. Sleep is supposed to be a surrender, but modern life has turned it into a negotiation. You tell yourself you need sleep, you should sleep, you have to sleep, and in that pressured urgency, the calmness required to slip into the subconscious dissolves. People carry unspoken wounds into the night. Moments they never processed remain vibrating inside them. The body feels ready for rest, yet the emotional field is still electric. That electricity keeps the nervous system on guard, scanning for threats that no longer exist. Your body becomes a lighthouse, sweeping the darkness for danger. Deep sleep can't arrive when the lighthouse is awake. Then comes the disappointment, the alarm clock rings, and you rise as though you never closed your eyes at all. You shuffle through your morning already depleted. A little more impatient, a little more disconnected from yourself. You tell people you're fine, but deep down you can feel a heaviness in your chest that whispers a different story. You sense your inner world drifting further away, harder to access, harder to understand. This is where frustration sneaks in. You've tried the advice, the routines, the supplements, the playlists. Yet something keeps you hovering just above actual rest. You fall asleep but never fall into sleep. You wake as though you didn't touch the healing depth frequencies your spirit aches for. And that ache grows into questioning, what is wrong with me? Why can't my mind shut down? Why do I wake up tired in a life I'm trying so hard to improve? This is the moment where many people begin to assume that their struggle is simply permanent. But the older, intuitive part of you, the part that remembers things your conscious mind forgets, knows that the human body was not designed to stay restless. It knows that your spirit has always been connected to a deeper rhythm. It knows that the most natural thing in this universe is restoration. So why doesn't it happen? Because something in you is misaligned with the gateway that deep sleep requires. Not broken. Not defective. Not cursed. Just misaligned, and the misalignment is subtle enough that science alone rarely identifies it, while spirituality alone rarely explains it. This is where the sleep hypothesis enters the story. Not as an answer you memorize, but as a doorway you step through. A doorway leading to a truth you've sensed your whole life: your sleep is not merely physical. It is an interaction with a field of information that waits for you every night. The discovery began quietly, with a simple question that grew too loud to ignore: why does deep sleep only appear when the mind stops trying to reach it? Scientists observing brainwave activity noticed something unexpected. When a person desperately tries to sleep, their frontal cortex stays alert. But when they surrender, not mentally, but energetically, their brain shifts into the same rhythm monks showed during advanced meditation. This raised a bigger question: is deep sleep something we fall into, or something we tune into? A researcher studying quantum information fields found a strange phenomenon: the brain emits a faint, measurable frequency moments before entering deep sleep. This frequency is not random, it aligns with oscillations found in low-energy quantum states, the same states associated with entanglement, coherence, and memory restructuring. In spiritual language, this is the zone where the soul rewrites its internal script. But the true discovery came when people reported accidental, deep sleep during emotionally aligned moments, after forgiveness, after gratitude, after releasing a long-held fear, or after speaking a difficult truth. That pattern couldn't be ignored. It meant that biology, quantum behavior, and emotional energy were not separate arenas. They were layers of one interconnected mechanism. One story stands out. A woman named Mara spent years battling insomnia. She tried every method, every routine, every scientific trick. Nothing worked. But one night, after an intense conversation where she admitted a truth she had avoided for years, she felt her whole body soften. She didn't meditate, she didn't journal, she didn't do breath work. She simply released an emotional vibration that had been vibrating inside her for too long. That very night, she fell into the deepest, longest sleep she had experienced in decades. The next morning, she described it as sleeping inside a quiet blue light. She felt restored in ways she didn't know restoration could feel. Not rested, reset. She didn't know it then, but she had entered what quantum theorists call the coherence window, a brief moment where the emotional field harmonizes with the brain's frequency pattern required for deep sleep. Spiritual teachers refer to this same window as alignment, when your internal truth matches your internal vibration. And here lies the shocking discovery. Deep sleep is not caused by tiredness. Deep sleep is caused by coherence. Coherence is the moment your emotional, physical, and quantum states synchronize. When they fall into the same pattern, the gateway opens. The body stops scanning for danger. The subconscious is allowed to surface. The quantum field begins its nightly repair cycle. This explains why you can be exhausted but restless, or relaxed but unable to drift. Fatigue doesn't unlock deep sleep, coherence does. This realization changes everything. It means deep sleep is not a random event. It's a frequency you can intentionally enter. It's a vibration your spirit naturally understands but your mind has forgotten. And once you understand the sleep hypothesis, you stop trying to fall asleep. You begin doing something far more powerful. You create the conditions that make deep sleep inevitable. The sleep hypothesis proposes that deep sleep emerges not when you force rest, but when your internal field aligns with the frequency that the quantum body recognizes as safe to restore. To create this alignment, 3 exercises form the core of the method. Exercise 1, the discharge breath, 3 minutes. This is not relaxation. This is neural disarmament. Step 1, sit or lie down. Step 2, inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Step 3, exhale through your mouth with a whispered "Hiya," imagining you're releasing static electricity. Step 4, repeat until your body feels heavier than your thoughts. This breath interrupts hypervigilance and signals the brain to shift out of scanning mode. Exercise 2, the realignment statement, silent. Your subconscious listens more carefully at night than during the day. So you speak to it in its own language, internally, emotionally, without forcing intention. Say silently, "I release what isn't mine to carry tonight." Not dramatic. Not spiritual theatrics. Just truth. You're signaling the field that your emotional body is stepping back from guard duty. Exercise 3, the quantum frame shift. This is the heart of the method. Imagine your bed not as a place where you struggle to sleep, but as a portal where your consciousness is allowed to soften. Visualize a faint, slow-moving ripple spreading outward from your chest. That ripple is your frequency. Let it expand until it fills the room. As the ripple expands, imagine that space responding, the air thickening, the room slowing, reality becoming blurry. This mental image shifts your neural activity from beta, problem solving, to theta, subconscious access, and then to delta, deep sleep. This is the same pathway used in advanced quantum visualization practices. If done correctly, you'll feel a gentle drop sensation, like your mind is sinking into deeper water. These 3 exercises work together. The discharge breath lowers the shield. The realignment statement clears emotional interference. The quantum frame shift guides your frequency toward coherence. The method is not about perfection, it's about consistency. Much like learning an instrument, the first attempts feel unfamiliar. But with repetition, the brain begins to recognize these signals as the safety cue. Once that happens, deep sleep becomes predictable. And the most remarkable part? This method doesn't make you sleep. It creates the environment where sleep comes for you. Change doesn't appear gradually here, it arrives suddenly, like a quiet revelation. At first, the transformation feels subtle. You wake up one morning and notice that your chest feels less tight. You stand up and your body doesn't resist the morning. The sun feels a little warmer, colors a little sharper, sounds a little softer. It's not dramatic, but it's noticeable. You feel present in your own skin. Then, a few nights later, the shift deepens. You fall asleep without negotiating with your thoughts. You don't chase sleep, you glide into it. You don't toss or reposition, your body melts into stillness. And for the first time in a long time, you dream, not chaotic, fragmented dreams, but long, fluid sequences that feel like conversations with your own soul. Your mind stops waking you up at 3 a.m. to remind you of things you can't change. Your nervous system stops expecting danger in the silence. You wake in the morning not in survival mode, but in renewal. And something extraordinary happens. Days begin to feel lighter. You respond instead of reacting. You listen instead of defending. You breathe instead of bracing. Life begins to unfold in a rhythm you can finally hear. It's the rhythm your body had been trying to return to all along. Eventually, people around you notice. They ask why you look calmer, why your energy feels grounded, why your eyes look brighter. You don't tell them you changed your sleep, you tell them you changed your relationship with yourself. Because once deep sleep returns, the real awakening begins. The mission extends far beyond your personal rest. Once you understand the sleep hypothesis, you realize something profound. The world is full of people walking around in a half-dream, living on fragments of energy, trying to build a meaningful life on top of exhaustion. When you heal your sleep, you heal your clarity. When you heal your clarity, you heal your choices. When you heal your choices, you heal your destiny. The mission is simple: help create a world where sleep isn't an afterthought but a gateway. A world where deep rest becomes a spiritual right, not a luxury. A world where people stop numbing themselves through distraction and start listening to the quiet intelligence of their own bodies. Because once you taste real deep sleep, true quantum restoration, you realize how powerful a rested human can become. You think more clearly. You manifest more accurately. You speak truth more boldly. You access intuition more confidently. You align with your path more naturally. Deep sleep is not the end of your day. It is the beginning of your power. Tonight, when you lie down, remember this. Deep sleep isn't lost. It's waiting for you to return to coherence. If this message resonated, if even one part of you felt seen, then share this mission. Let more people awaken through the gateway of rest. Your transformation begins the moment you decide to reclaim the night. Now breathe, align, and let the universe restore you.